Hello everyone, and in this video I'm going to show you 10 powerful tips and tricks that will help you use ChatGPT like a pro, even if you already use it regularly. Now most people only scratch the surface, but there's a whole layer of features that can completely change how you interact with ChatGPT. From customizing your responses and writing better prompts, to saving time with specific features and getting more accurate personalized results, these tips will help you get the best out of ChatGPT. So let's get started. Okay, so the first tip is choosing the right model for your task. And if we look at ChatGPT's various models, we know that now we have ChatGPT 4.0, which is great for most tasks. We've got the 0.3 that uses advanced reasoning. We've got the 0.4 mini, which is fastest at advanced reasoning. We've got the 0.4 mini high, which is great at coding and visual reasoning. And there's more models here, like the GPT 4.5, which is good for writing and exploring ideas. 4.1, great for quick coding and analysis. So that's a really quick overview of the different models. But here's a tip for you to get a better understanding of the different models and when to use them. So if you head over to platform.openai.com and look at the model section, I'm going to leave you the link to OpenAI's model page here, and you can actually click on each model to find out more about it and to understand exactly what that model gives you. So for example, a lot of us use ChatGPT 4.0 regularly, and it's important to understand that it has 128,000 context window, that it can process both text and image inputs, and this really helps you deciding what to do with the model and the kind of prompts that you will be able to use with that model. And that takes us to the next tip. This tip is all about knowing the best prompting technique for each model. And this is because different models respond best to different styles of prompting. And if you really want to get the most out of ChatGPT, it's really important that you tailor your prompts based on the model you're using. And here's a simple trick. You just ask ChatGPT directly. You can type in something like, what's the best way to prompt you for coding help? Or something as simple as, what's the best way to prompt for deep research? And that's exactly what we're going to do here in this tip. So I'm going to change now, going back to our previous tip. I'm not going to use ChatGPT 4.0 here. I'm going to change it to 0.3 advanced reasoning. And that's because I want it to think about the response that it's going to come back with. And I'm just going to add here, what is the best way to prompt for deep research? And I'm going to enter that. It's not only thinking, it's also going to be exploring the best practices for deep research prompts. So I want it to come back with a little bit of thinking and analysis in terms of what I need to do. So now it's thought for 9 seconds. It's come back with principles for high quality deep research prompts. And then here you'll see that it's organized 7 different important aspects that I need to include in my deep research prompt. It tells me what to include. It tells me why this matters. It gives me the links from OpenAI. So that already starts to teach me the different techniques that I need to use in prompting. And not only that, but it also gives me a prompt blueprint that I can use. So it says, copy the skeleton below into ChatGPT, switch the model selected to deep research, and then fill in the placeholders. And it also shows me a worked example of how this would actually work, some advanced techniques that I can use, and a quick checklist before you hit run. So how amazing is that, to get my own full entire prompt written in the best way using the best prompting techniques for deep research? And you can use this across the board with all the different types of models as well. Okay, so for this next tip, we are going to control ChatGPT's memory. And one of the most powerful but often overlooked features in ChatGPT is its memory. It doesn't just respond to your prompts, it can actually remember your preferences. And this includes things like how you like your content structured, the tone you prefer, the recurring topics you discuss with ChatGPT, and you can choose to control what it keeps track of and what it forgets. So what we're going to do is we're going to go here to our profile, we're going to head over to settings, and in settings, you'll see the option here for personalization. So we're going to click on that. This will take you into ChatGPT's memory. Here you'll see reference saved memories. This lets ChatGPT save and use memories when responding, and this is toggled on. And you can also reference chat history, which lets ChatGPT reference all previous conversations when responding. And again, I have this on. Now, because I have both of them switched on and it's going to be saving all my prompts and my chats, what I need to do is I need to constantly manage my memory. So when I open my memory, you'll see that it keeps track of all the various conversations that I've had. And there's some of these that I'd like to keep and some of them that I feel like it does not need to keep track of what I'm doing. So for example, here, I was working on a Python course and it's actually kept all the details here. So I can just come here and choose to delete that, click on remove, and then I'm going to forget this from my memory. And then I can keep doing the same with various outputs. You can choose which ones to keep. So for example, I can keep the paper titled Role of Collaboration, Innovation, Success, because I want it to remember in my future conversations. And then if you feel like you don't want it to remember anything at all and you want to free up memory for new projects, then you can also delete all and start from fresh. Now you'll notice that I have 83% of my memory already full. So if I want it to remember my previous conversations going forward, I will have to continuously manage my memory in order for it to be able to store new information. But this is extremely useful if you find yourself always going back to ChatGPT with the same kind of problems. So I would always encourage you to keep these toggled on. Now, the next tip is extremely important, and I want to tell you that not a lot of people use this, even though it makes a huge difference when you actually do. And this tip is to use the temporary chat. And in order to do this, you'll come up here to next to your profile button, and where it says turn on temporary chat, we're going to click on that. And as you can see, it tells us straight away that it won't appear in history, use or update ChatGPT's memory, or be used to train our models. And this is the key area. So this is extremely important if you want to upload sensitive information, if you want to ask a sensitive question, confidential data that you want to be dealing with, and you want to make sure that this information is not stored on ChatGPT in your own memory, but also it will not be used to train the models. So I'd recommend you use that when you're also trying to brainstorm ideas, especially about new projects that you're working on, new startup ideas, new research papers that you don't want to be shared either internally or externally. Okay, so the next tip is to use custom instructions to guide how ChatGPT responds. And custom instructions are one of the most powerful ways to make ChatGPT work better for you. It tells the model what it should know about your preferences, how you'd like it to respond, how you want it to sound, and this really helps you get a consistent tone or writing style across your different tasks. Okay, so how do we set up custom instructions? What we need to do is click on your name or profile, again go to settings, and then again we're going to be going to personalization, and here where it says custom instructions, we're going to click on that, and then you can just select what you want it to do. So for example, the name that you want it to call you, and for this example I'm going to show you how I've set up my custom instructions to make ChatGPT sound more human and to avoid those key giveaways that tell the audience that this is ChatGPT generated content. So what I've said here, what traits should ChatGPT have? I've given it some specific writing style instructions, like use a professional tone, like a thoughtful, articulate human explaining something clearly, avoid corporate jargon, buzzwords and formal cliches, keep the tone professional but conversational, avoid sounding robotic or overly formal, and do not ever use, you can see that I bolded this, M dashes, use commas instead. And this is a key giveaway that people till now have not realized, that tells the audience this is ChatGPT generated content. The M dash, which is the long dash that we see in a lot of writing from ChatGPT, and anything else that ChatGPT should know about you. Here I've written a whole list of words that I wanted to avoid. I've said avoid words and phrases that are common AI generated words such as delved, invaluable, relentless, and so on. And I know that some of these words may be completely relevant to your context, and this is the great thing about customizing your ChatGPT instructions, is that you can always come over here and remove things. And now that we've set our custom instructions, we'll click on save, and you'll see that then now it will start to take these custom instructions into consideration when it comes to produce the next output. So the other thing that you can do in order to protect your privacy is to make sure that you turn off data sharing for model improvement. And in order for you to do that, what you need to do is come here to your profile and then click on settings, and then on the left hand side here you're going to go to data controls, and you're going to find at the top here it says improve the model for everyone, and you're going to see that it's automatically switched on. So what you need to do is toggle that off, and with this off, OpenAI won't use any of your conversations or your sensitive data to fine-tune future versions and models. Okay, so for the next tip, we're going to be creating images and videos using ChatGPT's Sora. And Sora is one of the most creative tools that you'll find inside ChatGPT. It's a built-in feature that lets you generate images and even short videos right inside the chat. So in order to try it, just click on the Sora tab from the left sidebar. So we're going to click on that, and you'll see that it will open in a new window. And here you'll be able to explore the various images, and then you can click on images to create your own images, or you can click on videos to create your own videos as well. So let's start off by creating our own video. You can see here in the type, we're going to be selecting video. You can choose the aspect ratio that you want, whether it's 16:9, 3:2, 1:1, 2:3. I'm just going to leave it at 2:3 for now. You can also customize the resolution. You can also choose the duration that you want, 5 seconds or 10 seconds. You can also choose the number of videos that you want to bring back, so 4 videos, 2 videos, or 1 video, and so on. So I'm going to come here and add a prompt that says, create a short video showing what education looks like in the year 2075, show classrooms, teachers, learning devices, and daily routines. And then I'm going to enter that, and you're going to see that it's now added to the queue, and it's now going to start producing my video. Okay, and you'll see that once it's ready, it will give me a notification here, futuristic classroom innovations, and then I can click on that, and you can see it's generated 2 variations for me to use. And here, this is one really nice variation. And if I also come to my media, you'll see I'll be able to view them. So here's the other classroom. And if I really like this option, then I can then download my video. So I'm going to download that. Okay, you can see that I've now got my download. And here's where it becomes really useful. I can then open any PowerPoint presentation that I'm working on. So I'm just going to insert this video to my presentation. So insert video from file, and then I'm just going to add the video that I've just created. And you can see that I've now got this video that we've created with Sora, and I've just dropped it into my PowerPoint presentation. You can also add a designer feature, and look how amazing that looks. And then I've just added that extra dynamic element to my presentations very quickly. So such an amazing tool to enhance your presentations. Okay, so for the next step, we're going to be using projects in order to organize our work within ChatGPT. And you'll see that I've got a number of projects here. And this is one of the features that I really love about ChatGPT that helps you to stay organized. So we're going to start off by creating a new project. I'm going to give my project a name. So for example, this is all about the Q4 product launch of Smart Desk, and I'm going to create that project. Okay, and once I've created that project, you can see I can click on that. I can change the color of the folder so I can just keep them well organized as well. I'm going to make this one blue. And here I'm in the new chat for this specific project. Now, what you can do here is add your files. So I'm going to start off by adding the documents and files related to this project. So here I'm going to add the Smart Desk brand guidelines, the campaign recap, the target personas, and then you'll see they've been all uploaded to my project files. Okay, and once all my files have been uploaded, you can see here it says 3 files. You can also add custom instructions. So it says here, how can ChatGPT best help with this project? So I'm just going to add my custom instructions. I'm going to tell it I'm managing the launch of a new productivity product, and then I've mentioned who it's targeting and what I need here. I need help in developing high quality marketing content, including social media posts, emails, and campaign messaging, and so on. And then I've given it a bit of information about the product. So I'm going to add that to my custom instructions. And now that I've added these 2 aspects, when I give it a task in my chat, it will be using these project files and the custom instructions in order for it to generate content that is really specific to this project. Okay, so I'm going to give it my first task, which is using the uploaded brand guidelines and personas, create a 5-day LinkedIn post sequence introducing Smart Desk to tech professionals. Each post should have a hook, a value proposition, and a call to action. I'm going to enter that, and you'll see that it comes back with the LinkedIn post sequence, and it has the hook, the value proposition, it's got the call to action, and it's using all the information that I provided in my product files. And the great thing about this is that you can see that all this is coming under my specific project. So now we have the Smart Desk LinkedIn sequence, and then if I start a new task here, and I write based on the campaign recap and brand voice, write a 3-part email sequence for our mailing list announcing the Smart Desk launch, include a teaser, product benefits email, and a final call to action with the special offer. So I'm going to enter that. Okay, so you can see that it's now come back with the 3 different emails. And again, you can see that under my project product launch, I've got then the 2 different tasks that I've asked it to produce. And if I go to that project, you'll see that these 2 tasks are then showcased at the bottom here. And what this does is that it really organizes your chats within ChatGPT, so you're able to access specific projects and their content immediately, and it keeps all that information that is related to it in one place. Okay, for the next step, we're going to integrate choosing the right model with combining the tools that we have on offer in ChatGPT. And the tool that we're going to be combining it with is searching the web. Now, you can just search the web with your general model, which is the ChatGPT 4.0. However, choosing a different model while you're conducting the search can have a huge impact on the search results that you get. If my search questions requires the model to think and to reason, I'm so much better off using the O3 combined with the search feature. So for example, if my question is, for a small business with a limited budget, is it more effective to invest in content marketing or paid ads? What are the trade-offs? You'll see that here I'm trying to get the model to not only search for the information, but I wanted to make an evaluation based on the 2 options. So I'm going to use the O3 model to take advantage of its reasoning, and I'm going to enter that. Okay, and you can see that the model immediately starts to evaluate the marketing strategies. It's going to be exploring this. It's going to be thinking about the process as it also collects and searches for information. Okay, so it's thought for 44 seconds. It's giving me a comparison, speed versus staying power for the content marketing and the paid ads. And I've got the sources where it's gotten the information from, and that's the feature of the search. It's given me the budget and cost cost per acquisition, the typical spend ranges, the cost per lead, return on investment, and so on. And then it gives me the risks and hidden costs, and then choosing the right mix. So if I need sales this quarter, then I need to lean more towards paid ads, or if I have under £1,000 a month for my total marketing budget, then I should lean towards content first, and so on. And then it tells me that this is a phased plan for $1,500 monthly budget, and then it gives me the bottom line. Now, just for a quick comparison, I want to show you what happens when we search with that exact same question using another model. For example, using the ChatGPT 4.0 model, and then I'm also going to activate search the web, and then here I'm going to add the exact same question that we used with the O3 model. Okay, and you'll see here that ChatGPT 4.0 still gives a solid answer with the pros and the cons of each one and tells us which path makes more sense, but you can see that the advice is very surface level. So it's good if you want a quick idea of what decision to go with, but it doesn't go beyond just general best practices. Whereas with the O3 model, we saw that it reasoned through the problem, it structured a detailed comparison table, it cited real data points, it provided decision-making frameworks, and you can see just the fact that we used a different model gave us a completely different output. So this is something that I'd really encourage you to think about the task and to use the right model when you're conducting your search with ChatGPT. Okay, so the next tip is to connect your external tools with ChatGPT. And so, for example, if you're working with documents that are stored in places like your Google Drive, your Dropbox, or Gmail, you don't have to copy and paste everything into ChatGPT in order to get your results. You can access a wide range of documents from external sources by using ChatGPT's connectors. And in order for you to do that, again, you're going to go to the profile button. You are going to come here to where it says settings, and then you're going to come over to where it says connectors, and you're going to click on that, and you will see that you will be able to connect your favorite apps so ChatGPT can access that information. So you can connect it to Box, you can connect it to Canva, to Gmail, to Google Drive, to HubSpot, Outlook Calendar, your Teams, and so on. So we are going to connect it to our Google Drive. So I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to click on connect, and then you're going to give access to the permissions, and then you're going to choose the email account that you want it to connect to. And then once I've connected, you'll see that here you can select what ChatGPT can access. I'm just going to give access to everything in my Google Drive. And then once that's done, you'll see that now we've got Google Drive as one of our enabled connectors. And now when I come to conduct deep research, unfortunately it only works with deep research right now. You can see that now not only can I access web search to get external sources and data, you can see that I can also access the files within Google Drive. And then from there, I can add a prompt that says run deep research on the long-term impact of remote work using my study files folder in my Google Drive files. Now, unfortunately, for now, ChatGPT does not allow you to select a specific folder when you connect it to Google Drive. So the best practice here is to always mention where the important information that you want to direct it to in your prompt. So I've mentioned here using my study files folder in my Google Drive files, compare the internal data with external research findings, highlight major trends, conflict and perspectives, and key recommendations for managers. So the idea here is I'm running deep research, I'm adding a lot of information. I could have uploaded the information to my deep research, but as you know, you can have access a lot more files from Google Drive. So this is another really useful way to run deep research, especially when you have a lot of information that you want to supplement with external sources. Okay, so in this video, we've looked at a large number of tips that will really help you start using ChatGPT like a pro and will really increase your productivity and help you organize yourself and get the most out of ChatGPT. I hope you found this video useful, and see you in the next one.